This is it. This is the final episode of Survival Kingdom Season 1. And as this is the final episode, you can see there's a lot that still needs to be done around here. So this is going to be a pretty mega episode. In fact, this could end up being the biggest episode of the series. Why do I do this to myself? Hi there. I'm going to interrupt the video real quick because I would love to see a huge like goal hit for this episode. So if we could please hit 500 likes for the finale episode, that would be absolutely huge and I would love you guys forever. So can we hit that? That would be awesome. So, what are our goals for today? Well, first off, we need to work over back in this area next to the Trading Guild. And this area has some pretty big work that needs to be done. First off, we have these huge sheer cliffs that we need to cover up in some way. So I'm thinking some buildings along here, as well as some type of archway that's going to lead us toward a road that heads toward the inner gate. We also have the lower bridge to get in that leads to the entire red district that still needs to be done. And heading across the bridge toward the bank, we still have all of this area that is completely empty as well. And all of this doesn't even mention the complete lack of greenery across the entire port. Except this area. This area looks great. Oh, and roads. Yeah, roads are a thing that has to happen too. So I say we go ahead and get started because we have a lot on our plate today. Also, I'm pretty sure that I don't have enough materials in order to finish all of these builds today. So we're probably going to have to do some resource collecting at some point. Especially for things like crimson wood and warped wood. I don't think I'm going to have enough of this. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and take the initiative of just filling up a shulker box of each. But hey, progress. This also gives me the opportunity to pick up some shroom lights, which I am completely out of. And a full shulker box of warped, and a shulker box of crimson. And more build progress. I am still a bit concerned with how flat these walls are though, so I may actually end up having to do some terraforming, which I'm honestly not looking forward to. Phenomenal cosmic powers! Itty bitty living space. Name that movie in the comments below. But anyway, that is the main features of this build done, and I have to say, I think it came out looking pretty good. There still needs to be some landscaping and such around outside. However, I think I'm going to hit that whenever I do that for the rest of the kingdom, because it's bare everywhere, so I'm just going to leave it for now, and I'll touch that up later. Now, let's go ahead and let's work on this archway. That looks good! I mean, yes, it could still probably use some texturing and probably some plant life and stuff, but overall, I like it. It does, however, introduce another issue. This landmass is kind of in the way. So it's time for a bit of movie magic. 3, 2, 1, ta-da! However, now I have some ugly cliffs, which introduces another problem. Nothing another build can't resolve, though. Yep, that'll do. So I think overall this area is looking a lot better, a lot more closed in and like an actual street. However, I think it's time for us to move down to the red district. But oh no, how are we gonna get to the red district? We need a bridge. And there we go, a nice little bridge to get us to the red district. So the red district itself isn't actually all that big. However, I think we can fit at least a couple of builds over here. So first things first, we're going to need a build that will transition us from this level of the port up to the next level. So I'm thinking maybe some housing over top of this ledge and then some stairs that go straight through the middle. We're going to have to make that housing a little bit more fortified though, because this is the red district. It's the district of power. So we definitely want to make sure that our guys over here can handle things if things come down to it. And then I'm also thinking about adding a guild hall over in this area. Since we already have the blues groups, they have the trading hall that's on the other side of the port. I'm thinking them having their own guild hall could be pretty cool as well. So maybe a warriors guild or something like that could be something that we can fit over here. And I'm thinking the last thing that I really want to do is go ahead and make a rail track that can connect up from this tower over into the side of the bank, because eventually I would like to have a rail track that starts somewhere over near the Dark Fortress and heads all the way through the entire port and into the kingdom. I just think riding a rail through this entire area could one day be really cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in a track from there connecting into there. Okay, I fully admit, right now this area feels a little bit empty. But just like all of our other areas, we are going to revisit this later on in the episode, get a courtyard in, some paths around here, and just make the area feel a lot more alive. But right now, the main features are in. A building here, a guild hall here, the railway over top, and then also some ballistas guarding the bridge. But honestly, I think it's time for us to move into our next area, in front of the bank, because all of this is, once again, empty and flat. Let's get our main builds into this area. And this area is now looking fantastic. Once again, still need some detailing and stuff, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Now we need to cover something that's going to be a little controversial. And I guess before I make you guys mad, I should remind you to subscribe if you haven't already. I may lose that subscription here in about 3 seconds. This is our first ever house in this world, and it's in the way. But rather than just completely tear this thing down and get rid of it completely, I actually think I'm going to relocate it. Because it's not lost on me the sentimental value that that house had. That was our very first build, and I'd really like to save it somewhere special here in this world. And I have a hard time thinking of a place more special than the farmlands. This place is absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. And honestly, I think that this right here would be the perfect area to relocate our starter house. So I have myself a shulker box and a silk touch pickaxe. Let's give this baby a new home. And there we have it. At the entrance of the farmland sits our historical first home. And I have to say, it definitely fits this area very, very well. Not quite the same as the other houses, but it's definitely small and quaint enough that it definitely works in this area. And I absolutely love that we got to preserve this in the world still without getting too much in the way of the port build. Speaking of the port, let's say we get back over there and work on it. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of crazy to think about, but we are actually in the home stretch of finishing up this port. So this last section of the port is probably going to be the trickiest that we've done so far, because we have to gradually make the buildings and the staircases go up toward where our gateway is going to be. So we're going to have each one of these kind of slowly transition into higher builds on each side, so that we have things that are gradually heading up to our central point. Now, in theory, I don't think that's going to be too difficult. However, one thing I am worried about is that this area out here is going to be a massive empty space, a huge courtyard that is just not got much in it, and we're going to have to fix that. I don't know what I'm going to put there quite yet, but we definitely can't just leave all this empty space. But I think I'm going to start with all of the buildings first, and then we'll come back and deal with that later. So while I was building, I realized I didn't have any redstone, and well, that's my first death I've had in a long time. Okay, well, I gotta get re-geared. I mean, lucky for me, I do have a bunch of backup tools, so that is not the problem. I think the main problem is going to be armor, because I lost my elytra and everything else, so that's not fun. Oh well. I still need redstone though, because all of my redstone just burn up in lava, so I gotta go back mining again. And this is the reason that I haven't started a hardcore Minecraft series. Oh wait, I forgot. I do actually have backup gear. I made this a while back in a video. I have backup of everything except it's not netherite, but I mean, who really cares about that? It is my only elytra though, so I'm down to one elytra, which is not fun, but that's okay. We can go and get more another time. Well, at the very least, I found where I died, and I can go ahead and pick up that little bit of stuff that is here. It looks like my netherite gear actually survived. Is this going to despawn, though? Yeah, it looks like some of it despawned right in front of my face. So, I got my helmet. That's a thing, I guess. The rest of it has, just despawned right in front of my face. That's disappointing. So I want to take a moment and just stop. And I want you guys to think back to episode 1, where we just had a small hole in the side of the mountain with a couple of chests thrown around. That was our episode 1. And now we are quite literally standing on top of the world that we have created. This is so cool, man. So I have added so much more in, from these new townhomes on each side of the road to these new battle areas here that can protect the entrance into the kingdom. I've also added in another home up here that is connected in to this little, I guess, balcony area here, which is really, really cool. And then last but not least, we also added some more defensive walls up at the top and a small train station right here. This is where I'm going to continue our railway that's going to come from the other side of the world over here. I'm going to have it go through the bank, and we're going to have it output right over here, and then we'll have it go through the mountain at some point. So I have added everything into this area that I can possibly think of. It is jam-packed. And that's not all I've done. You'll also notice that there is some greenery around the entire area. It's not done, far from it, but I have started adding in some grass patches that definitely need to be cleaned up. Right now it's just bone mealed, but we need to get some leaves, we need to get some trees, we need to get things like that in our city. But so far the port is just kind of shrubs. Yeah, just shrubs. But I did add in this really cool fountain. Check this thing out. It's kind of unique. I like it. But essentially, this right here is going to be my next goal. This that you see in front of you is kind of the template that I want for the rest of the kingdom. I want bushes, flowers. I want some type of border, whether that be slabs or leaves. I want trees. I want all kinds of things that build interest around the kingdom other than just the builds. I want to do the landscaping, the pathing, all of this that we've been missing out on, and it's time for us to get all of this in place, and those little green grass patches are just the start of it. So while those were the last builds of Season 1, we're still a long way from this thing being completed. No build is complete without landscaping. You know, I say that so often I should probably get it printed on a t-shirt. But we have had a ton of time lapses today, so instead, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do all the landscaping and then come back and show you guys some glamour shots of around the kingdom. I think that'll be a lot more interesting than watching me place leaves. So, 3, 2, 1, enjoy the beauty. And here we are, back on top of the kingdom that we have created. I would like to take a little walk around though, because I think this is done justice best from the ground. So much landscaping has been done, adding grass in, adding flowers in, adding bushes in, adding in really tall trees. These aren't custom, but I do think that they actually turn out looking really, really good in this area and provide some shade to the kingdom, which I really like. We can go ahead and head through our tunnel here, and everything is once again a little bit prettier with some greenery added in. I also decided to cap off this wall with some deep slate tile up here, just some slabs, and I think that looks a little bit better. But let's go ahead and let's head around to the left. Once again, we have a bunch of beautiful flowers here. I also decided to keep the lookout spot, so I kind of broke up our flower beds here and kind of made a path through here to where you can still come out and see the port, which I really like. So let's go ahead and continue on though past our shipbuilding yard, which has a little bit of greenery, but I wanted to keep it still pretty industrial, so I did kind of leave some grass exposed here and no flowers right in front of the door. And then, yeah, there's our being built ship, which is pretty cool. And then we can come over here to the front where the warehouse is. Added a little bit of flowers and bushes around here just to kind of pretty up the outside edges. But let's go ahead and let's head up to the blue district where we now have a bunch of beauty around. We have things from hay bales to bushes to flowers to this big fountain in the middle, which is kind of, It's weird. It's weird, but I like it. I don't know how to explain it. It's got a normal fountain in the center and then two smaller fountains on each side that only go in two directions, and they're at two different heights, and I don't know. It's strange, but I like it. It's kind of a fun little fountain here. But if we go ahead and continue on, we've added more trees. We've added in the paths through the entire kingdom, which is basically just andesite stone, as well as some cobblestone and some stone pebbles, aka stone buttons, mixed in to add just a little bit of depth to the paths. Let's go ahead and head into the next part of the kingdom where we have a beautiful fountain, some more trees, some more bushes, some more pretty flowers, which, by the way, in this biome, I guess I should mention, there are only two types of flowers. There are the poppies as well as the dandelions. So anything that you see around here that is not those two is hand placed. Those are the only two that spawn in this area. So everything else is hand placed flowers. So I spent quite a lot of time collecting up flowers for this area. So definitely came out looking pretty good. Now, I do have this area back here that is kind of dark and kind of spooky, and I didn't do anything with it because I have an idea for it, but I think that idea is going to be best suited for Season 2, so I'm not going to touch it for right now. But if we go ahead and head back out of that area, you can see we now have our townhomes with some greenery outside. And then as we go up the stairs where the gate to the kingdom will eventually be, which will be our first project of Season 2, we have some bushes and stuff up there now as well. Not too many, though. I kind of kept it a little bit plain. Now let's go ahead and head back into the market, and the market has gotten a little bit of an overhaul. Once again, some greenery added in, but also all of the shops now have something in them. So this shop is selling pumpkins, melons, and some hay bales, so kind of a typical market stall. This one is selling composters. This one is kind of a bounty shop, so you can pay somebody to go out and kill shulkers or slimes or pigmen or glow squids or even wandering traders. If we go ahead and head over here, you can see those guys right here. Yeah, you can go ahead and put a hit out on those dudes. Then we have ourselves a bookshop that also has some candles for sale. Then we have a wool shop that has some banners, which I'm kind of pretending that these are like pieces of fabric, like towels or something like that people can use for, I don't know, beach towels, or I don't know, towels for bathing or something. I don't know, just something like that. And then we have a flower shop here with the azalea bushes and some little flower pots holding some flowers. Absolutely love that. And then last but not least, down here we have the Red District, which is now sporting a giant statue of a phoenix. Let's go ahead and let's get to the other side of this so we can take a look at it, because it is pretty cool. A phoenix right here in the middle of the Red District, which I just think is such a fitting thing for the Red District. Remember, we have the lore here that they are no longer in power, right? So they are kind of not the outcast group, because they still play a prominent role in this society, but they aren't the dominant power anymore. The diplomacy side is the dominant power, but like a phoenix, they believe that they are going to rise from the ashes once again. So I think that this was just the perfect symbol for the Red District to have a giant phoenix right here at the harbor as well. So you can see this thing whenever you are entering in. You know what's up. You know what's happening whenever you see this thing. So it's really cool. Added in some greenery as well. I did do a color change for the greenery around here, and rather than having the spruce bushes around everywhere, I decided to go with the birch bushes instead, and it just gives a little bit more of a red texture to the area. I also tried to not put as many flowers in this area because, again, this is supposed to be like a power area. So I kind of left things a little bit sparse in the flower department, because these are warrior people, right? This is the champion, or not the champion, the Warriors Guild here. So we wanted things to, I don't know, still be pretty, but not, over the top pretty. Also, I left just the dandelions and the poppies here, so I didn't add in any types of flowers that don't naturally spawn here. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it. I think that's gonna be where I wrap up for season 1 of the Survival Kingdom Let's Play. It has been a huge undertaking with all of the things that we've built, from the Dark Fortress to the port to the Guardian Island to the farmlands. We have had so many cool builds this season, and we're just getting started. Season 2, our main project is going to be the Inner Kingdom, so we're gonna have to add in a pretty large gate here, and then on the inside is where the actual kingdom will live. So we have all of this area here, as well as all the way back here, and we still have to tie in all the way to our farmlands, which is down here. So season 2 is going to be a big one, and I'm pretty excited for it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be where I wrap up for today. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the video, as well as if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in season 2.